Right, Zion arms breakdown. Obviously, got any scopes or anything like that. Remove those. Make sure you don't lose everything. It's a habit that I have. What you're looking for, this nut here, so you'll see it on one side, it's got a D shape, flat end on one side. We hammer out from this side. So ideally, what you want is something underneath this part of the barrel so that it's relatively level, because otherwise you're not going to have enough of a gap underneath for it to come out. What I tend to do, take the buttstock off, just the butt guard, put that down, rest the barrel on it. That's it, there's enough give under there for that to then come out. You want something relatively flat, so try not to have it pointed, otherwise you could damage it. And something relatively heavy, in this case just a heavy screwdriver, hammer will do, essentially, and try and punch it out. Does take a fair bit of force, don't worry about it. So once it's part way out, pull, keep it safe. That's now your upper receiver loosened. That's all it is that keeps it in place. All right. Now you'll see as you pull, it can be quite tight. Don't be afraid to use a fair bit of force, but you get a gap like that, you're probably not going to be able to remove it further than that. You need to do a little bit awkward. You need to pull back the charging handle. I don't know if you can see it on the video, but under there's a nub. See that black bit down there? You need to be able to lift it above that. So you're kind of loosening the entire thing. Keep pulling the charging handle back and moving the upper receiver forward so you're getting more space. It takes a fair bit of wiggling round. Sometimes it takes an extra pair of hands if you've got one, but if not, you will eventually get it. Just need to keep jiggling. When you can see spring, again, receiver, see there's that extra nub there, that's the one that causes the problems. I don't know if you saw that, see it there in the middle? Yeah. So you will lift it above that. Once you lift it above, the entire thing should just be able to slide off. So this is your lower receiver. This has got your piston in there and everything. To one side. This is your upper receiver. And in here is where you've got your barrel. So your barrel just slides out. Now, as you can see here, this means this is a brass barrel. Steel is obviously silver. It's your rotary unit. This is your Hopup unit here. And keep that spring safe. I mean, it shouldn't come off there, but if it does, keep it safe, otherwise you're fucked. Now when you wanted to change your rubber, let me zoom in a bit here, I'll lift this up a bit, this isn't going to go well, I can tell. Right, so shift the upper receiver to one side. Now you've got to be really careful here. You want a flathead screwdriver, small. Got this bit here. Okay, this is your securing unit. Right, this, you can see I've already pried it open there before, but this is the securing unit that keeps the barrel in place and everything else in the Hopup regime in place. So you're going to take that out, and it does require a bit of a lift and push because it's clipped into place essentially. As I say, this keeps all your internals in place. So you want to very carefully, if you can, get that out by pushing it down. There we go. Should come off. That's what it looks like. From here, and you can see where the retaining clip actually, those little grooves, that's what the retaining clips keep in place. Okay. I think I've actually twisted my barrel a little bit whilst doing this. Yeah, I have, because there's one on the other side there. Should be one on each side. In focus, you did. There we go. One on each side, and then you've got a line. You pull it out gently. The reason you've got to do it gently is because otherwise you'll rip your rubber. That's your rubber there. Now the good thing about rotary Hopups, we'll come back to the other bit in a second, the good bit about rotary Hopups is that the Hopup, the nub, which is underneath there, will stay secure. If you've got, I'll say that and I can't see the damn thing, you can usually see it sort of protruding down. Slightly worrying that I can't see mine. Oh yeah, there you go. You can see it there on the right hand, left hand side. I don't know which way this video is going to show. As you to it. So that's what applies the backspin. Okay. Now, when you've got a standard hop-up unit, that thooker will just fall out the moment it's unsecure. And what it does, this is your rubber. You can pull your rubber off. Keep this ring, this O-ring. Pull your rubber off. And what that hop-up does is it puts pressure on the rubber on this bit of the barrel. So what you'll see when your rubber's on, if you look closely, you see that bit of the barrel, you can just see the shadow there at the top. It presses down into that bit, changes the shape of the barrel slightly, you see that there, and that applies the backspin. Okay, so this is one of the things that you'll want to change out. In fairness, this isn't an awful rubber in the first place, but as I say, you can get ones with different degrees of bucking, and that's where on the inside they already have a little bit that comes down, and the harder that is, the bigger the backspin. So typically you want a higher degree of rubber bucking for snipers. So for a sniper you might want 80 degrees, whereas assault rifles 60, 70 degrees is absolutely fine. You'll notice on your rubber as well, and this is important, that line at the bottom. Okay, that's important because that tells you which side of the rubber you need to be on, because when you look at your barrel, so you've got this guideline. Now make sure that's nice and clean. Got a bit of grime in mine, because ultimately when you put in any rubber on, you want that guideline inside the rubber to match up with the guideline on the barrel. So you'll see there, so that top end, generally if you twist it round, you'll feel when it clicks into place properly. If you don't do that correctly, your rubber won't work, because it'll be completely out of alignment there. So if I were to put it on incorrectly and just wang it on that way, you can see the shape's warped. So you want that guideline to go down the guide on the barrel itself, and as I say, if you apply a bit of pressure to the top and twist, you'll know when it's on. It'll feel right, and it shouldn't then twist out of place easily. Again, important that you keep that ring there. That's your stabilisation ring that sits on top of the rubber to make sure the rubber doesn't get damaged. When it comes to putting it back into your bucking, into your hop up, sorry, battery. What you want to do is you want to make sure that that guideline is at the bottom. So the guideline on the barrel is directly underneath where the hop up applies pressure. Now the hop up applies pressure from this arm here. This is your R-hop arm. That's what presses up and down. So you want that to be on the opposite side of your guideline. You can see there, that's on the bottom. Turn that upside down. Guideline's at the top. You want that to be as central as you can possibly get it. Okay. And again, you'll know, and you've got to be gentle here, because your rubber bucking is going to try and press against everything. All right. You want that ring to go down into the centre, so the ring comes into this bit there. You see that there, and you'll know when you're about right, because your guides will be on the sides, and there's your central guideline there. You can just make it out, so you know that everything's right. Our hop arm on this side, because it's applying the pressure downwards, and you can check by looking into your barrel. You see that there, you can see the hop up. As you turn it, you see it starting to protrude in, and again, that's what gives you backspin. Okay, now at some point we'll probably both want to change out the barrel, because this, as I say, is a brass barrel. Over time the inside will start to warp a little bit, but that's how your inside should look. Perfectly polished, no bits. Okay, if when it comes to cleaning, one of the things I recommend, let me just take this off here, is a proper gun cleaning kit like this. Okay, and the key parts, your lint-free cloth, your rod, and obviously a little hook at the end. Everything else is overkill on this. I wouldn't use these, because these will leave lint behind. and isopropyl alcohol, which again, the higher the percentage the better. I've got 99%, and you can get that off eBay. I think it's like 15 quid for a massive one like that, and that'll probably last you the best part of a few years, to be honest with you. But one of these cleaning kits, just one of the basic ones, so long as you've got the cleaning rod, the lint free, and the alcohol, and obviously the hook, that's all you need. If you do end up with grime and dirt, then the copper brushes are fantastic, but few and far between. You don't want to use those as on a regular basis, because ultimately, again, they could fuck it and cause striations inside your barrel, so you don't want to do that. When it comes to putting it back in, so you've got it, you've made sure everything's in place. Take your retaining clip, check which side your little grooves are on, and make sure that they match up with the correct size on your barrel. So retainer clip just clips on. Make sure it's in place properly, so you should see it's pretty seamless. And then you're ready to put your barrel back together. So take your upper receiver. I'm just going to tilt this back a bit more because, oh shit, it's falling out. Fuck it, it'll be right. Upper receiver. That's the end. Now you can obviously remove your muzzle. We discovered the other day, didn't we, that it's countersunk. I removed mine the other day and now I don't want to come back off, but either way, that's your outer barrel. So when they refer to inner barrel, that's this. Outer barrel is the bit that's inside, essentially. And you can remove that for cleaning if you want, but it doesn't really affect anything because obviously the BBs only travel through your inner barrel. So take your inner barrel, spring down at the bottom. You'll see on the inside, I've got a light. Where's me? It's quite funny actually. I used one of those earwax things. I cut off the end, so now I've got a camera with a light on it. So when I'm checking my barrel, if I want to check the nubbin and it's hard to see, then you can use one of these. It's fantastic. But you'll see down there at the bottom, that hole there, that's where your guide spring is going to be going. Okay, so turn that back off again. Take your inner barrel, slide it in, make sure the spring is face down. You want to slide it in from the end, because if you try and do it further up, you'll realise it's too wide to go down. So from the end, get it in line. Take a little bit of wiggling to make sure it's all lined up correctly, but won't be right. Come on, you bastard. There we go. And again, just pushing it forward. Your guide spring should basically be in place anyway. You shouldn't need to manoeuvre anything, because the two wings, you see those two wings that are on the edge, they've got a groove in the central reservation there. You can see them there. So what they should just fall into place there. You see they match up nicely. Once that's in, give it a little tension, because that shows you that your spring's in place. And then it's time to put your lower receiver back on. That's where your spring change goes, the inside of that. That's why it can be a little bit of a pain in the arse. Sometimes you can change the spring through the stock. I can't remember with this one whether you can or not. But like I say, with my DMR, you have to take the entire, this is your gearbox, comes into the bottom of this. You have to take the entire gearbox apart. I'm pretty sure with this, I seem to remember them saying that if you undo your castle nut, which you sometimes need a special tool for, to be honest with you, it's a right pain in the arse. But if you undo your castle nut, which is this thing here, that comes off, and I think you can just do a quick spring change. But as I say, quite often you need a special tool for these, which is why you've got that, unless you're prepared to go at it with a set of grippers, pliers. But obviously if you then warp it, you fucked your gun. It's an expensive fix. So again, upper receiver onto lower receiver, just sliding it across the top. You're going to hit that nut at the end. So again, same as disassemble it in reverse. Pull your charging handle back and upwards. So probably worth doing it before you get to that, if you can. It's a proper pain in the arse. It's a stupid place to have that nut. So play around until you get it. There we go. I mean, what I've found is if you wait until, if you leave plenty of distance, pull your charging handle back, you've got a bit more give to lift. All you need to do is lift over that. That nut essentially goes into the centre of the charging handle in the first place. The problem with doing this, what the charging handle does, is it removes the faceplate that usually sits over here. So take that back off. You'll see when you pull the charging handle, this faceplate here, loose, you see how it comes up. So typically it sits flat against there. When you pull the charging handle, it comes in there. The problem with that is when you're pulling the charging handle to get that over that nub there, that then gets in the way. So it's a right pain in the arse. So this might go off camera a little bit whilst I try to navigate it, but as I say, the instructions are all there. So charging handle up and over. I'm sticking my finger in here and I'm just pushing that faceplate back. I don't know if that actually showed or not. I think it did. But pushing that back, and that allows it, the entire thing, to come back into place. So again, you know that your receiver's in place when this bit lines up and you can see directly through that hole. What you want to do is then put your punch screw back in, your retaining bolt, and make sure you put it in the correct side. So the D goes on the other side. So when if your barrel's facing left, it goes in from the underneath, because we punched it out from the top. And again, you just need to make sure that everything's in alignment. If that has any space there, your bolt's not going to go in. So you're going to want to push it, hold it with your thumb, so there's tension there. You should just about be able to wiggle your bolt in. But again, often takes a fair bit of playing around. And this is where force is sometimes necessary. I mean, if we're looking through that hole, that looks pretty bang on. You can see if you loosen it even a little bit, it comes out of alignment. So I should be safe in just giving that a solid whack, in the knowledge that it should just punch it into place. So there we go. I'll make sure again it's in line with the edges, because if you then start smashing it down and it's not in line with the edges, you're just going to cause damage to your gun. So I find pliers helps a little bit there. Once it's in line, there we go, back in. Perfectly in place. The bolts come through on this side. Charging handle, weirdly is a little bit loose, but we'll sort that. But again, your charging handle, yeah, interesting. Okay, that's not great. Because your charging handle's supposed to pull this bit back so that you can see your hop-up unit. For some reason mine isn't, so I'm going to have to take mine apart again just to check and see why that is. Probably just loosened the plate a little bit too much. But either way, that's how you do your R15.